Well, and then it can go a long way into getting the fans to divest themselves of the poor Acclaimed. The poor Acclaimed. These guys, again, homegrown talent, and the fans decided they liked him, and Caster's got the rap. He did 2 raps, coming into the ring for this one. And they need good, experienced heel teams to work with. And they didn't have one here. Neither a good heel team nor an experienced heel team. Nor any kind of team for that matter. And this whole thing with Lee and Swerve, and we knew they were going to turn on each other. Or one was going to turn on the other. They were going to split up. And they did. Because Tony just decided he's going to reshuffle his toy soldiers. And some of the, I guess, Germans are going over to the fucking French side or whatever. But we were 3 hours in on this show, plus an hour of bad pre-show matches. And now the tag title match comes up, and after the Acclaim's rap, again, it wasn't fair to these kids. They're green, and they don't work enough to learn, but they also don't learn anything. Swerve ain't bad as a single, and Swerve's athletic. Keith Lee, the more we see of him, he's awkward to work with. He's immobile. He has no facials now. He looks like the Hulk, but he wrestles like he's in fucking quicksand. And so they start this tag team match. And like I said, both Caster and Bowens look better with Swerve because he can move around. Keith Lee tries to do shit to show that he can move, but he can't move. And now, like I said, 4 hours into this whole production, these guys start out trying to have a match in the ring after the 5 previous matches have used napalm and bazookas. And then as soon as I pretty much say that, there goes Swerve to the back of the arena and brings a barricade back to the ring and leans it against the ring. And tries to suplex Bowens on it, but Bowens suplexes him on the floor instead, and they leave the barricade there. Nobody, no ringside attendant, no member of the ring crew, no other referee goes, okay, well, we need to move this back. It just, because it's part of the stunts they've got set up. And they try to tell their lame story that was going to be the cause of this breakup, that Keith Lee doesn't want to cheat. I think between him and Swerve, I think he would be the better heel because Keith Lee looks like just an annoying fuck anyway, whereas Swerve kind of looks like he's got some personality. But anyway, so long heat on Bowens, and Lee and Swerve are a rotten team. They've not been a team very long. They don't do team stuff very well, and they don't understand how to be tag team wrestlers. And they bury Caster by taking forever to do the double team stuff that they are trying to do on Bowens while Caster's got to stand there with Pete in hand. There was no momentum or jeopardy to this heat. And finally, after all of that, Bowens hit a reverse Hurricane Rana on Keith Lee that almost killed both of them, it looked like. And then absolutely frigid simultaneous tags. Both partners that tagged in got frostbite on all their fingers. And Caster made a comeback, and Keith Lee shut it right down and did some more awkward shit. And then Caster came back out and cold tagged Bowens, and they hit a finish on Swerve and got a 2 count. And if the whole thing had gone to shit, the heels are outsmarting the faces. Caster did a crossbody off the top onto Lee on the apron, and they finally went through the guardrail. And after that, a guy crossbodies a big 400-pound sack of shit off the apron through a guardrail to the floor, and in the ring, Bowens and Swerve were doing false finishes. At that point, I gave up. And I hit fast forward because they went another 5 fucking minutes. And when I slowed the thing down, Swerve had a pair of pliers and we're going to cut the fucking Acclaim's fingers off. And here comes Billy Gunn running down, but the referees grab him and Swerve tries to give Keith Lee the pliers. and Keith Lee wouldn't use them and threw them down, which is the same goddamn finish they just did with Penthouse and Felix and Pac-Man and the fucking Bellhammer 2 weeks ago on TV. And then Swerve slaps Keith Lee in the face. And Keith Lee is supposed to be the babyface out of this. He's the one that doesn't want to cheat. The heel slaps him in the face, and he stands there and looks at it and takes it and walks off. And then when he walks off, you talked about it beforehand. Then the babyface is 2-on-1 on the heel, hit him with like fucking 7 moves, and then beat him. It was awful. 20 minutes of this shit. The Acclaimed are going to be dead in the water unless they get to work with a good heel team that knows how to lead a match. And this was not in any way fair to them and made them look like complete fucking idiots.
And the whole dramatic moment, which was the most interesting thing about the match, even though, like you said, it had already been done, was Keith Lee walking out. And then they just, like I said, they just continue to just have a match. And they actually, where you're watching it going, are they going to pin him? I don't even know. Like, I'm thinking, when every time, I'm not saying you do the same thing the same way every time, but, a great example that pops in my mind from when I was a kid, because, when you're a kid, everything's more impactful, was when they broke up Tito Santana and Rick Martel in the WWF. They were my favorite team when I was 10. They broke up at WrestleMania. It was the opposite, though. Martel, if I remember right, he turned heel. He left Santana in the ring. I think they were against Anderson and Blanchard. And Santana got destroyed and quickly pinned. And,
yes.
And it highlighted the fact of here's what happens when your partner abandons you in the middle of a tag team match. You don't just continue on with the match, as if nothing happened. That was really a head scratcher.
Well, they don't understand. They have to do all their shit. They have more moves they can do for the fans. They don't understand that if the point in your match that gets the biggest pop is not either the finish or the thing that happens right before the finish, then you have fucked up. You have fucked up. If the biggest pop of anything you do in your match comes at the 12-minute mark of a 20-minute match, you're a fucking idiot. And here's another. Who comes and then fucks for another 12 minutes? Right?
I'm going to leave that one alone.